Hello. Welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy this chapter of Only Human by Olivia and Lacey Julius.
I woke up to the sound of my phone buzzing on the nightstand, the light streaming through the blinds signaling it was way too early for a weekend. Groaning, I rolled over and grabbed the phone, squinting at the screen. "Brittany, what do you want at this hour?" I muttered, answering the call and putting the phone to my ear. "Good morning to you too, sunshine," Brittany's overly cheerful voice chirped on the other end. "It's not that early." "It feels like it," I grumbled, sitting up and rubbing the sleep from my eyes. "Well, wake up, because I have plans," she said, her tone practically oozing excitement. I sighed, already bracing myself for whatever whirlwind idea she'd come up with this time. "What plans?" "Me and Natalie are hanging out at my place today," Brittany said. "And you, my dear Charlotte, are officially invited. Think of it as a pre-dance chill session. Snacks, movies, and maybe a little homecoming prep. What do you say?" I hesitated, glancing at the clock. It wasn't even 9 a.m. yet, but the thought of spending the day at Brittany's house, with her endless energy and Natalie's calming presence, didn't sound too bad. "Fine," I said, stifling a yawn. "What time?" "As soon as you can get here," she said, practically bouncing through the phone. All right, I said, swinging my legs over the side of the bed. "Give me a little while to get ready." "Perfect," Brittany said. "We'll be waiting." "And Charlotte?" "Yeah, wear something cute." Before I could protest, she hung up, leaving me shaking my head. Brittany was impossible sometimes, but at least she kept things interesting. I set the phone down and stretched, trying to shake off the lingering grogginess. Another day of figuring out this new version of my life was ahead. But for now, at least, I had good company to look forward to. The walk to Brittany's house wasn't long, but the warm Saturday sun made it feel endless. The whole neighborhood was alive with the sound of sprinklers, chirping birds, and the occasional distant hum of lawnmowers. I adjusted my bag on my shoulder, trying not to overthink what the day might bring. When I reached Brittany's house, the driveway was empty except for her car, and the curtains in the living room window were drawn halfway. I knocked on the door lightly, waiting for someone to answer. No response. I knocked again, louder this time. "Brittany? It's me." Still nothing. I frowned, glancing around before testing the doorknob. To my surprise, it turned easily and the door creaked open. "Brittany," I called as I stepped inside. The house was quiet, unusually so. I shut the door behind me, the faint smell of popcorn lingering in the air. My sneakers squeaked slightly on the polished floor as I walked further in, heading toward the living room. "Hello? Brittany? Natalie?" I turned the corner and froze. There on the couch were Brittany and Natalie. Their arms were wrapped around each other, Brittany's hands resting on Natalie's waist, while Natalie's fingers gently brushed against Brittany's cheek. Their lips were locked in a kiss that was both tender and passionate, completely oblivious to the fact that someone else was in the room. My heart skipped a beat, and I immediately looked away, feeling like I'd just invaded a deeply private moment. "Oh my God," I blurted, my voice breaking the silence. The two of them sprang apart like they'd been caught sneaking candy before dinner. Brittany's face turned beet red, while Natalie's calm composure cracked just slightly, a rare flicker of embarrassment crossing her features. "Charlotte," Brittany exclaimed, jumping up and smoothing her hair as if that would somehow erase what I'd just seen. I didn't mean to." The door was open and no one answered. I stammered, my cheeks burning. I'll wait outside." "Wait," Brittany said quickly, stepping forward. You don't have to leave. It's fine. Right, Natalie? Natalie nodded, her voice steady despite the faint blush still dusting her cheeks. It's fine. You're fine. I hesitated, still looking anywhere but directly at them. I didn't mean to interrupt. Brittany let out a nervous laugh, running a hand through her hair. Well, I mean, you did, but it's okay. We probably should have been more careful. I finally risked a glance at them, their expressions a mix of awkwardness and vulnerability. You guys are really cute together, I said awkwardly, trying to ease the tension. Brittany's face lit up, and she grinned despite herself. You think so? Yeah, I admitted, relaxing a little. You're just lucky it was me and not someone else. Natalie nodded, her voice soft but firm. You're right. We'll be more careful. Good, I said, managing a small smile. Now can we please pretend this didn't just happen? Brittany laughed, the tension finally breaking. Deal. But you'd better not use this against me later. No promises, I said, my smile widening. We all laughed, the awkwardness melting away as Brittany and Natalie quickly rearranged themselves on the couch to a more just friends position. It wasn't the start to the day I'd expected, but somehow it felt like a step closer to understanding them, and maybe even myself. The walk to Brittany's house wasn't long, but the warm Saturday sun made it feel endless. The whole neighborhood was alive with the sound of sprinklers, chirping birds, and the occasional distant hum of lawnmowers. I adjusted my bag on my shoulder, trying not to overthink what the day might bring. When I reached Brittany's house, the driveway was empty except for her car, and the curtains in the living room window were drawn halfway. I knocked on the door lightly, waiting for someone to answer. No response. I knocked again, louder this time. Brittany? It's me. Still nothing. I frowned, glancing around before testing the doorknob. To my surprise, it turned easily and the door creaked open. Brittany, I called as I stepped inside. The house was quiet, unusually so. I shut the door behind me, the faint smell of popcorn lingering in the air. My sneakers squeaked slightly on the polished floor as I walked further in, heading toward the living room. Hello? Brittany? Natalie? I turned the corner and froze. There on the couch were Brittany and Natalie. Their arms were wrapped around each other, Brittany's hands resting on Natalie's waist, while Natalie's fingers gently brushed against Brittany's cheek. Their lips were locked in a kiss that was both tender and passionate, completely oblivious to the fact that someone else was in the room. My heart skipped a beat, and I immediately looked away, feeling like I'd just invaded a deeply private moment. Oh my God, I blurted, my voice breaking the silence. The two of them sprang apart like they'd been caught sneaking candy before dinner. Brittany's face turned beet red, while Natalie's calm composure cracked just slightly, a rare flicker of embarrassment crossing her features. Charlotte! Brittany exclaimed, jumping up and smoothing her hair as if that would somehow erase what I'd just seen. I didn't mean to. The door was open and no one answered. I stammered, my cheeks burning. I'll wait outside. Wait, Brittany said quickly, stepping forward. You don't have to leave. It's fine. Right, Natalie? Natalie nodded, her voice steady despite the faint blush still dusting her cheeks. It's fine. You're fine. I hesitated, still looking anywhere but directly at them. I didn't mean to interrupt. Brittany let out a nervous laugh, running a hand through her hair. Well, I mean, you did, but it's okay. We probably should have been more careful. I finally risked a glance at them, their expressions a mix of awkwardness and vulnerability. You guys are really cute together, I said awkwardly, trying to ease the tension. Brittany's face lit up, and she grinned despite herself. You think so? Yeah, I admitted, relaxing a little. You're just lucky it was me and not someone else. Natalie nodded, her voice soft but firm. You're right. We'll be more careful. Good, I said, managing a small smile. Now can we please pretend this didn't just happen? Brittany laughed, the tension finally breaking. Deal. But you'd better not use this against me later. No promises, I said, my smile widening. We all laughed, the awkwardness melting away as Brittany and Natalie quickly rearranged themselves on the couch to a more just friends position. It wasn't the start to the day I'd expected, but somehow it felt like a step closer to understanding them, and maybe even myself. Brittany, ever the queen of distraction, grabbed her phone and threw on some music. The sound of an upbeat pop song filled the room, its energy lifting the lingering awkwardness from moments earlier. She twirled dramatically to the beat, grinning at both of us. All right, ladies, she declared. No more awkward vibes. Today is about having fun and getting ready for the dance. Natalie chuckled softly, her composure fully restored as she sat on the couch and motioned for me to join her. Come here, Charlotte, she said, her voice warm. Let me do your hair. I blinked, taken aback. My hair? Why? Because I want to, she said simply, patting the cushion beside her. Brittany chimed in, twirling again. Trust me, Nat's amazing with hair. She'll make you look fabulous. I hesitated, glancing between them. Brittany was still swaying to the music, clearly in her element, while Natalie's calm, inviting expression made it impossible to refuse. Fine, I said, setting my bag down and walking over to sit beside Natalie. But no promises that I'll look any different. Natalie smiled faintly, reaching for a small basket of hair ties and clips that Brittany must have pulled out earlier. You'd be surprised what a little effort can do, she said, gently combing her fingers through my hair. Her touch was careful and deliberate, her movements soothing as she worked through my slightly tangled strands. I tried to relax, letting the music and her calm presence melt away the tension I didn't realize I'd been holding. Brittany danced around the room, occasionally pausing to sing into an imaginary microphone. This is going to be the best homecoming ever, she declared mid-spin. I rolled my eyes but couldn't stop the small smile tugging at my lips. You're ridiculous, you know that? Thank you, Brittany said with a mock bow, flipping her hair dramatically. Natalie chuckled softly, still focused on my hair. She's ridiculous, but she's not wrong. Homecoming is going to be fun. I sighed, shifting slightly as Natalie continued working. I hope so. It will be, Natalie said firmly, securing a section of my hair with a delicate clip. You just have to let yourself enjoy it. Easier said than done, I thought, but I didn't say it out loud. As Natalie continued styling, Brittany turned the music up a notch, grabbing a hairbrush to use as a microphone. She sang along loudly and off-key, her energy so infectious that I couldn't help but laugh. For the first time in what felt like forever, the weight of everything, the accident, the changes, the uncertainty, didn't feel so heavy. Maybe, just maybe, today was going to be all right. As Natalie finished up with my hair, her delicate touch leaving it smoother and more styled than I'd expected, Brittany plopped down on the floor in front of me with a mischievous grin. All right, Charlotte, she said, pulling a small nail kit from a nearby bag. Time for the finishing touch, your nails. I blinked, glancing down at my hands. My nails? Why? Because, Brittany said matter-of-factly, you're going to look amazing at homecoming, and you can't have boring nails ruining the whole vibe. They're not boring, I protested, holding up my hands. They're just natural. Exactly, Brittany said, pointing at me with a tiny bottle of nail polish. And we're about to fix that. Lucky for you, I have the perfect shade. She held up a small bottle of purple nail polish that gleamed faintly in the light. It matches part of your dress, she said, wiggling it in front of me. Isn't it perfect? I sighed, resigning myself to her enthusiasm. Fine. But don't make them look too much. Too much, Brittany repeated, mock offended. Do you even know who you're talking to? Natalie chuckled from her spot on the couch, watching the exchange with quiet amusement. Just let her do her thing, Charlotte. You'll thank her later. Brittany gave Natalie a triumphant grin before turning back to me. All right, hands out. I reluctantly extended my hands, and Brittany got to work, carefully shaping my nails with a small file before opening the bottle of polish. You're going to love this, she said as she applied the first stroke of color. Purple was vibrant, a rich shade that immediately reminded me of the trim on my homecoming dress. Brittany's focus was intense, her usual energy channeled into the precise movements of the brush. See, she said after finishing the first nail. Gorgeous already. I rolled my eyes but couldn't deny that the color was nice. If you say so. Oh, I know so, Brittany said, grinning as she moved on to the next nail. As she worked, the music played on, a softer song now filling the room. Natalie leaned back on the couch, her arms crossed lightly as she watched us with a faint smile. You're lucky Brittany loves this kind of thing, she said. She's been doing my nails since forever. Practice makes perfect, Brittany chimed in, adding a dramatic flourish to her brushstroke. The whole scene felt normal, like the kind of moment I'd never expected to have again after everything that had happened. When Brittany finished the last nail, she blew on my fingers gently to help them dry, then sat back to admire her work. Ta-da, she said, gesturing proudly. What do you think? I examined my nails, the rich purple catching the light beautifully. It was bold but not over the top, just enough to feel special. There. Nice, I admitted, a small smile creeping onto my face. Nice, Brittany repeated, mock gasping. Girl, they're perfect. Natalie chuckled softly. She's right. They look great, Charlotte. Thanks, I said, glancing between them. For everything. Brittany waved a hand dismissively, her grin still firmly in place. You don't have to thank us. That's what friends are for. I leaned back, letting the moment sink in. For the first time in a long time, I felt cared for. And as I looked at my nails, the vibrant purple a reminder of the dance tomorrow night, I couldn't help but feel a small flicker of excitement. Maybe homecoming wouldn't be so bad after all. The room was warm, filled with the soft hum of music and the faint smell of nail polish. I leaned back on the couch, feeling oddly relaxed for the first time in what felt like forever. Brittany was chattering about plans for tomorrow, her hands animated as she described different hairstyles, while Natalie nodded along, her calm demeanor balancing Brittany's endless energy. But then it hit me. A sudden, sharp sensation, like a jolt of electricity running through my veins. My chest tightened, and I sat up abruptly, clutching my arms as a strange wave of unease washed over me. Charlotte. Brittany's voice cut through the haze, her tone laced with concern. Are you okay? I tried to respond, but my throat felt tight, the words sticking like glue. My hands trembled as a faint, mechanical hum filled my ears. Charlotte. Natalie's voice was calmer but no less worried. I looked up at them, and their faces told me everything. Their wide eyes and stunned expressions sent a cold rush of dread through me. What? Croaked, my voice shaking. What is it? Brittany raised a trembling hand, pointing toward the mirror on the far wall. Look, she whispered. My heart pounded as I turned my head, my gaze locking onto the reflection in the mirror. And there it was. The girl who should have been staring back at me was gone, replaced by the stark white robot I'd glimpsed in the restroom the night before. Its featureless surface gleamed under the room's soft lighting, and its glowing blue eyes pierced through the reflection like a cold, unrelenting spotlight. I gasped, stumbling backward. No. No, no, no. The voice that came out of my mouth wasn't my own. It was metallic, distorted, and utterly alien. System fault detected. Holographic projection offline. Brittany covered her mouth with her hands, her eyes wide with shock. What the hell is happening? Natalie's composure cracked for the first time, her jaw tightening as she stared at me. Charlotte, what's going on? I don't know. I shouted, or tried to, but the words came out as a mechanical echo. I don't know what's happening. My reflection flickered again, the robotic visage distorting before the hologram snapped back into place. The face staring back at me was mine again, freckled, flushed, and terrified. The room fell deathly silent, save for the faint hum of the music still playing in the background. I turned to Brittany and Natalie, my heart hammering in my chest. You didn't see that, I said, my voice shaking. You didn't see anything. Charlotte, Brittany said, her voice trembling. We saw it. What was that? I don't know, I said again, my voice breaking. I don't know what's happening to me. Natalie stepped closer, her eyes searching mine. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out. But you need to tell us what's going on. I shook my head, my hands trembling. I can't. Not yet. Charlotte, Brittany started, but I cut her off. Please, I begged, my voice barely above a whisper. Just give me time. I need to figure this out. They exchanged a glance, their concern evident, but neither of them pressed further. I turned away, my reflection still normal now, but the image of the robot's face burned into my mind. Whatever was happening to me, it was getting worse. And I didn't know how much longer I could keep it hidden. I ran the entire way home, my heart pounding in my chest, not from the exertion but from the panic that clawed at my mind. The robot's face, the mechanical voice, the look on Brittany and Natalie's faces, it all swirled together in a storm of fear and confusion. When I reached the front door, I fumbled with the keys, finally shoving it open and slamming it shut behind me. I leaned against it, trying to catch my breath, my hands shaking as I stared at the darkened hallway ahead. What do I do? I whispered to myself, my voice trembling. I thought about my mom, the one person who might have answers, or at least the ability to get them. If I told her what was happening, she'd drop everything to help me. But then what? She'd call the doctor. They'd run tests, poke and prod, and probably keep me from doing anything until they figured it out. No homecoming. No dance. Just more questions and no normalcy. I couldn't let that happen. No, I muttered, shaking my head. Not now. Not yet. My phone buzzed in my pocket, snapping me out of my thoughts. I pulled it out to see Brittany's name flashing on the screen. My stomach twisted as I answered, trying to steady my voice. Hey, I said, forcing a casual tone. Charlotte. Brittany's voice was frantic, the usual cheer replaced by worry. What the hell was that? Are you okay? What's going on? I closed my eyes, exhaling slowly. It's nothing. I promise. Nothing, she repeated, her voice sharp. Charlotte, your face turned into a robot. That's not nothing. It's just... I hesitated, scrambling for an explanation that wouldn't lead to more questions. It's just a hiccup. With my new body. Like a glitch or something. It happens sometimes. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Are you sure? Brittany asked finally, her voice quieter now. Yeah, I said quickly, my grip on the phone tightening. It's fine. I'm fine. I wasn't expecting it to happen in front of you guys, that's all. Freaked me out too. Brittany let out a shaky laugh. You scared the crap out of us. Natalie thought you were malfunctioning or something. Well, I'm not, I said, forcing a weak laugh of my own. I'm good. Really. Okay, Brittany said reluctantly. But if it happens again, you have to tell us. Deal? Deal, I lied, my stomach twisting further. All right, she said, her voice softening. Just take care of yourself, okay? We'll see you tonight for the dance? Yeah, I said, trying to sound confident. I'll be there. When the call ended, I let out a shaky breath, staring down at the phone in my hand. The guilt settled heavily in my chest, but I pushed it aside. I couldn't let this ruin everything. The dance was tonight. I could handle this, at least until tomorrow. Couldn't I? 2 hours before the dance, the house buzzed with an unusual energy. My mom had been pacing around since the morning, fussing over every detail like it was the most important day of her life instead of mine. "Are you sure you don't want me to curl your hair?" she asked from the doorway, watching as I slipped on the dress. "It's fine, Mom," I said, forcing a steady tone as I smoothed the fabric over my hips. The dress fit perfectly, hugging in all the right places and flaring out just enough at the hem. It was pretty, I had to admit, even if it wasn't my usual style. I glanced at my reflection in the mirror, and the girl staring back at me looked almost like she belonged in the dress. Almost. The soft blue fabric with its purple trim shimmered faintly in the light, highlighting the curves I was still getting used to. My hair, freshly brushed, fell neatly over my shoulders, and the delicate straps of the dress rested comfortably against my skin. It all looked right. But it didn't feel right. Just a few days ago, I wouldn't have even touched a dress like this. Back then, the thought of wearing one had made my skin crawl. Dresses were the ultimate symbol of everything I wasn't. Everything I didn't want to be. But now? I ran my hands over the smooth fabric again, my chest tightening. Now, the dress wasn't just a piece of clothing. It was a declaration, a reminder to everyone, including myself, that I wasn't Connor anymore. I swallowed hard, tearing my gaze away from the mirror. "It's just a dress," I muttered under my breath. "It doesn't mean anything." But it did. It meant that I was stepping further into this new life, whether I wanted to or not. It meant that the person I used to be was slipping further away. And as much as I wanted to fight it, I couldn't. Not tonight. "It looks beautiful on you," Mom said from behind me, her voice soft but filled with pride. I didn't respond, couldn't respond. Instead, I turned back to the mirror, forcing myself to meet the girl's gaze. The dress swished lightly around my knees as I shifted, and for a moment I let myself wonder what it would be like to feel comfortable in it. To own it the way Brittany or Natalie would. But that wasn't me. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Till, as much as I hated to admit it, the dress fit. And for tonight, that would have to be enough. I caught my reflection in the mirror and blinked. The girl staring back at me felt like someone else, poised, confident, ready for the world. It was a strange feeling, but for once, I didn't hate it. "Thanks," I muttered, my cheeks heating under her gaze. "Wait right there," Mom said suddenly, rushing out of the room. Before I could ask where she was going, she returned with her phone in hand, practically bouncing on her toes. "We need pictures. Lots of pictures." I groaned, already dreading the next 15 minutes. "Mom!" "No arguments," she said, ushering me toward the living room where the light was better. "This is a big night, Charlotte. I want to remember it forever." I sighed, but I let her position me near the window, turning this way and that as she snapped photo after photo. "Smile," she said, her voice full of excitement. I forced a grin, tilting my head slightly as the camera clicked again. "Perfect," she said, moving to get a different angle. "Now one without the purse." I rolled my eyes but complied, setting the small clutch on the coffee table. The minutes dragged on, but her joy was infectious, and soon I found myself smiling for real, laughing softly as she fussed over every little detail. When she finally put the phone down, she stepped back and looked at me with a mix of pride and affection. "You're going to have a wonderful time tonight, sweetheart." I nodded, the tension I'd carried for the past 2 days easing just a little. "Thanks, Mom. For everything." As I headed back to my room to grab my shoes, I noticed something else. The ache I'd felt before, the strange, tight sensation in my chest that had warned me something was wrong, was gone. Maybe it really had been just a random glitch, like a hiccup that wouldn't happen again. And tonight, I wouldn't let anything ruin this moment. With one final glance in the mirror, I adjusted the straps of my dress and slipped on my heels. It was time to go. The school gym had been transformed into a glittering wonderland. Strings of fairy lights hung from the ceiling, casting a soft glow over the dance floor, while tables with crisp white tablecloths and colorful centerpieces lined the edges. The faint hum of music thumped in the background, mingling with the buzz of chatter and laughter from students in their finest clothes. As I stepped into the gym, my heart pounded. My blue dress swished lightly with every step, and I clutched my small purse tightly, scanning the crowd for Brittany and Natalie. "Charlotte!" Brittany's voice cut through the noise, and I turned to see her waving enthusiastically from near the refreshment table. She looked radiant in her dress, the same black and purple one she'd shown me when we were shopping. It fit her perfectly, highlighting her lively personality in every stitch. Standing next to her was Natalie, who looked elegant in a modest but formal navy blue gown. The dress had long sleeves and a high neckline, but it was tailored beautifully, with subtle embroidery that shimmered faintly under the lights. She wore a matching hijab, the fabric flowing seamlessly with the rest of her outfit. I made my way over to them, the nervous energy in my chest easing slightly at the sight of my friends. "Wow," Brittany said, grinning as she looked me up and down. "You look amazing, Charlotte." "Speak for yourself," I said, gesturing at her dress. "You're practically glowing." "I know, right?" she said, striking a playful pose. "But seriously, you're stunning. Derek's going to lose his mind when he sees you." I rolled my eyes, though my cheeks flushed. "Please don't start." Natalie smiled softly, her calm presence grounding me as usual. "You both look beautiful," she said. "So do you," I replied, glancing at her dress. "You look really elegant." Her smile grew, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. "Thank you." Brittany grabbed my arm, pulling me closer to the dance floor. "Okay, we've got to get you in the middle of this crowd. Tonight's about having fun, and we're not holding back." I laughed, the tension in my shoulders melting away as I followed her lead. Natalie trailed behind, her serene expression softening as she adjusted her hijab and glanced around the room. The music shifted, the upbeat tempo fading into the soft melody of a slow song. The lights in the gym dimmed slightly, casting a romantic glow over the room as couples gravitated toward the dance floor. I stood near the edge of the crowd with Brittany and Natalie, watching as pairs swayed together. My stomach fluttered at the sight, though I wasn't sure if it was from nerves or something else. "Charlotte." I turned at the sound of Derek's voice, my heart skipping a beat. He was standing just a few feet away, his hands tucked into his pockets as he gave me a small, lopsided grin. His suit was sharp, dark gray with a light blue tie that matched his eyes, and he somehow managed to look both confident and slightly awkward at the same time. "Hey," I said, my voice a little quieter than I intended. "Dance with me?" he asked, holding out a hand. I hesitated, glancing at Brittany, who was grinning from ear to ear and giving me a not-so-subtle thumbs up. Natalie nodded encouragingly, her calm smile steady. Taking a deep breath, I placed my hand in Derek's. His grip was warm and steady as he led me onto the dance floor, weaving through the other couples until we found a spot near the middle. I hesitated for a moment, watching the way the other girls wrapped their arms around their partners. Mimicking them, I placed my hands on Derek's shoulders, my fingers brushing against the soft fabric of his suit jacket. He smiled, his hands resting lightly on my waist as we swayed to the music. "This is different," he said after a moment, his tone light but thoughtful. "Dancing with Connor. In a dress." I laughed, shaking my head. "Yeah, it's weird for me too. But," he added, his grin widening, "you pull it off. You look really nice tonight." "Thanks," I said, feeling my cheeks heat up. "You clean up pretty well yourself." We both laughed softly, the sound easing the awkwardness as we settled into the rhythm of the song. For a moment, everything else faded away, the whispers, the stares, the questions. It was just us, swaying together in the soft glow of the lights, the music weaving around us like a cocoon. Derek's grin softened into something warmer as he looked at me. "I'm glad you're here, Charlotte." "Really?" "Me too," I said quietly, and for the first time I truly meant it. The slow melody of the song surrounded us, and for a fleeting moment everything felt okay. Then it hit me. A sharp electric jolt shot through my chest and I stumbled, the world spinning as the pain surged again. My hands flew to my ribs, clutching desperately as I tried to steady myself. "Charlotte." Derek's voice was full of alarm, his grip tightening on my arms as he kept me from falling. "Hey, are you okay?" I couldn't respond. Pain was blinding, my vision blurring as a low, mechanical hum filled my ears. I squeezed my eyes shut, biting down a cry as I felt my body flicker, a faint crackling sensation racing across my skin. "Charlotte." Natalie's voice cut through the haze, and I forced my eyes open to see her and Brittany rushing toward me. Their faces were pale, panic etched into their features. "It's happening again," Natalie said sharply, her calm demeanor cracking as she grabbed my arm. "We need to get her out of here. Now." "What's going on?" Derek demanded, his voice rising. "What's wrong with her?" "No time to explain," Brittany said, her usual bubbly tone replaced by pure urgency. She glanced at him, her expression firm. "We need your help. Can you help us get her to a classroom?" Derek hesitated, looking between me and the two of them. Yeah, of course. What do we do?" "Just help us move her," Natalie said, wrapping her arm around my waist as Brittany grabbed my other side. Derek quickly stepped in, steadying me as my legs wobbled beneath me. Pain surged again, and I gasped, clutching at Derek's arm as the flickering sensation rippled through me. "Please," I managed to whisper, my voice strained. "Just get me out of here." "We've got you," Natalie said, her voice low but determined. Together, they began moving me toward the gym doors, their steps quick but careful. Crowd around us was too caught up in their own moments to notice much, but I could feel a few curious stares as we passed. My head swam as the pain throbbed in waves, but I focused on the sound of their voices, their determination, and the hope that once we got somewhere safe, I could figure out what was happening to me. As the gym doors swung open and the cooler air of the hallway hit me, I clenched my teeth, willing myself to hold on just a little longer. We weren't there yet, but I wasn't alone. And that had to be enough. Classroom was dim and quiet, the muffled sounds of the dance just a faint hum through the walls. Brittany, Natalie, and Derek maneuvered me into a chair near the teacher's desk, their voices a blur as the pain overwhelmed me. "Charlotte, hold on," Brittany said, her tone frantic as she knelt beside me. "You're going to be okay." "Just breathe," Natalie said, her voice calm but edged with urgency. Derek hovered nearby, his brow furrowed with confusion and worry. "What's happening to her?" "Someone needs to call an ambulance." "No," Natalie snapped, cutting him off. "This isn't something they can help with." I tried to say something, anything, but the words wouldn't come. The sharp, crackling sensation returned, spreading through my body as the pain surged again. My skin felt like it was buzzing, alive with an electric hum I couldn't escape. And then it happened. The holographic projection around me flickered violently like a glitching TV screen. My arms and legs shimmered, the familiar image of my human body fading in and out. Brittany and Derek froze, their eyes wide as the white robotic form beneath was revealed. "Oh my God," Derek whispered, stepping back slightly. "Power at minimum levels," a robotic voice announced, cold and mechanical. The sound didn't come from my mouth. It came from somewhere deep within me, resonating in the silent room. No, Brittany said, shaking her head as she grabbed my hand. "Stay with us, Charlotte. Please." My head tilted slightly, the glowing blue eyes of the robotic face briefly locking onto her before dimming. "System shutting down," the voice said. And then everything went dark.